time for another When I'm Not Podcasting. We're going to talk about Tinder. Recently, a story from Slate.com spoke with the author of a new book about the real-life dangers of online dating. Nancy Jo Sales is her name. And the book is called American Girls, Social Media and the Secret Lives of Teenagers. I might have to go and see if they put this on an audiobook. So she's been reporting on women's experience on the internet since well before people were aware of the unique dangers it posed. So now she's also wrote, produced, and directed a documentary about dating apps called Swiped, hooking up in the digital age. And now she's releasing Nothing Personal, My Secret Life in the Dating App Inferno, it's a book that details her own experiences with online dating while she was reporting on it. Now, that we're in a period of increased skepticism of technology and social media. Sales urges that dating apps are being held to account. They need to be held to account for the ways they're endangering women, people of color, and trans people. So she was asked how young women live their lives online for a long time and that she wanted to return to the subject. And that she made mention of that the overall sense of mainstream reporting does not take into account the harm that is coming to women, to people of color, and to LGBTQ people through harassing messages, unsolicited images, and even sexual assault and rape of women and men too. You know, I don't know where... maybe it's just that I've looked at dating apps and I've looked at online dating in general, and I've never seen much of anything that shows me there was anybody being dismissive or kind of being concealing their true identity or where they might come from. When you see people of color, you can see their pictures. If it's someone that's LGBTQ, somebody makes mention of it. Like there's a lot of people that are mentioning pronouns. The pronouns or genders or their status, whether it's sapiosexual or whatever, or queer. It doesn't matter. People put their labels out there, the ones that want to do that. And I think that's been trained by most people to go on online dating in the first place. So I'm not sure where that really comes from. But this is something that she brings up. Starting with the male gaze, women are objectified to the publishing and posting of pictures in this game of hot or not, whereby men get to decide, is she fuckable or is she not? Well, it goes the other way. But obviously, she's looking at this from the scope of women, of gay, or transgender, or people of color. Women of color. Let's just be more specific. Because it feels like that's where she's coming up with the rape culture that only goes to women. Okay. And then they go into some stats. And there's issues of transphobia and racism and the kinds of discrimination that are being put through online dating. Okay. She interviewed a trans person and said that things will be said to them, questioning them, asking uncomfortable questions, saying harassing things, come on to them, say uncomfortable things that are not right, and that a person wouldn't say in person. Now, you can still see people's names now on most apps for all intents and purposes, but online dating is still pretty anonymous. The anonymity of these things and communicating through those screens make people more aggressive, and they will say things that are not just acceptable in any place, but they're very assaultive, she says. Where it's communication through social media or through these apps. So assaultive, she's trying to make it that you're actually causing harm. Okay. And then she says that they'll even write in their profiles things says, I hate to even say it, but it makes me sick to even say it, but they'll say no blacks or fat shaming like no fats, body shaming things like no Asians, no Africans. This is not okay, she says. This should not be allowed. I don't know what the problem is. This is a limited amount of people that do this. And when you see people that have dating apps that have so many things that they're specifically filtering out from meeting, it's the same discrimination we get for those. You got to have money. You got to treat me like a queen. Like the men get the same kind of discrimination. It's not racism. It's discrimination. But you cannot force somebody to date someone that they are going to not have lockstep with. Let's just be honest with ourselves. In dating, we're all pretty specific. We profile, we pick who we want. We're very picky. And that's okay. because we should be like that even if we go out. But what she's trying to say here is that this should be allowed. Like there should be no opportunity to deny ourselves to somebody that we don't want to talk to. Now, I'm not going to speak for the ignorance and the stubbornness of people that are out there not wanting to go and meet new people they might like or trying new things. But when people are going to do that, that's not a large amount of people. Let's just be honest with each other. There's more into this where she talked about that there's some congressional investigation about it. Now, she hopes that apps will be held accountable for what they're doing in terms of discrimination, in terms of racism, transphobia, and others. But because there needs to be age checks, the apps don't want to do it because it will cost them more money, but they have to have some way of verifying the ages of people on these apps. You cannot have underage kids and children on these apps. It's just too dangerous. All right, but this is a problem that I can understand, but this can be self-policed. We don't need Congress or government to come in on this. Now, the private companies should do something more about protecting what they see. Like their algorithms can read what's on profiles, and they can go and, shut people's profiles down if they're, belligerent or if they're just being, ignorant. That I can understand. But the bigger problem is we need to make sure that sex trafficking is controlled, that people are not getting caught up in being scammed. Because I already know that people on the sugar daddy sites, they get scammed for their bank account information or for Cash App or Venmo or things like that. Or you go into an app and you're meeting somebody that is not the person who they say they are. They're a robot that's probably possibly created by the app. Fake profiles, catfishing. Those issues need to be addressed. It's not so much about people identifying who they are. Identitarianism isn't the matter of dating. What's the real problem is making sure the person that you're talking to on the other side of the computer or your phone is real. That's more important. And the other thing, too, is that the discretion of those using the apps need to make sure, just like if you use Craigslist, just like if you use any other site, that people can still make profiles that are fake. And you can still, if you're dating somebody for the first time off one of these apps, yes, something could dangerously happen to you. A woman could get raped or sexually assaulted as a result. Or worse, if it's even possible, if that's even fathomable. But that's what you have to consider right now. Now, the other thing I want to bring up as well is Tinder actually doing something to kind of help curb the issues that are going on. They're offering a block contacts feature. This is from TechCrunch. And they're saying now that Tinder is anticipating a post-pandemic uncuffing season, rolling out a new feature to prepare for that. Users can upload their phone contacts to select certain people they'd rather not see on the app, whether that's an ex, a coworker, or a family member. Interesting. That's actually pretty good. I like that. It would be awkward to see your ex out on the dating market again, but the new feature is more interesting for the user safety aspect. For example, if someone has previously encountered a stalker or otherwise abusive figure, whether on the app or off, they now have a tool to directly block them on Tinder. However, instead of creating a simple form where you can enter the phone number or email address, Tinder's asking permission to access the user's entire contacts list. As for ease of use, Tinder even claims it only keeps on hand the contact information for those you've blocked, not your entire address book. But users may still be wary. So that's a nice thing. Dating in person is still the best way to go, but I'm so surprised that so many people choose not to do that. The pandemic definitely changed the scope of dating, but right now, when it comes to dating, people just don't want to date. I can't believe how many people I hear on TikTok on a regular basis offering advice or commenting about how dating is so bad right now and how people are just choosing to be single. And there's not that many people getting married. So you got the excuse of not being able to schedule or have a marriage, or just getting into a relationship that's just something random and casual because you don't want anything to be a pure commitment or something that's going to hold you down, especially for younger guys or girls that are entrepreneurs that are looking to build their business, make something of their careers, make something of their wealth. And they don't want to cut that in with somebody else. Or they just want to live their life, play their video games, do what they want to do with their friends, and just go along and live life without feeling the need for love. Love is much harder to make happen these days. And in the dating community, and for the people that are actually reporting on dating like myself, I would just say it's more important to make sure that you are protecting yourself from who you date, that you're not catching yourself with somebody that is going to be bad news for you, and then worry about making sure you're with somebody who is real and who's legitimate, and making sure that person is legitimate. So, like a seeking arrangement, having a background check, I can understand that. That works well. And others getting a background check and getting verified. I think that's also very good itself. What the sugar daddy sites do should be what the other dating sites do as well. Verification. Not just your Facebook, but something else that gives a verification that is held back from the other users, but it verifies the person in a proper standpoint. So you know that you have a real person on the other side of the computer or phone. Anyway, I'll leave it there, and I'll talk to you next time.